The experts will tell you the traditional turn bolt is dead. They say the future belongs strictly to lightweight, straight-pull chassis systems that cycle faster than a semi-auto. And honestly, looking at what the German engineering houses are pumping out, it is easy to believe them. The market is saturated with aerospace aluminum and complex gear ratios, designed to shave fractions of a second off your follow-up shot. But they are missing the bigger picture. Sitting at number 1 today is not a featherweight straight pull. It is a massive, steel-forged masterpiece that shatters the current trend and proves why some classic mechanisms simply cannot be beaten. Here are the 5 best German rifles defining 2026. Kicking off the list at number 5 is the Anschutz 1782. In a market totally obsessed with featherweight alloys, this German powerhouse planted its feet and refused to compromise. They carved the entire receiver out of a massive block of milled steel. This is not a flimsy mountain gun. It is a sheer fortress of metal. They even cut a 20-minute of angle Picatinny rail directly into the top of that solid steel receiver. By eliminating the middleman of base plates and mounting screws, they stripped out any chance of vibrational shift under heavy fire, ensuring your optic stays deadlocked on 0. Under the hood, you are getting a massive double-row 6-lug bolt that drops the throw angle to a quick 60 degrees. Running this bolt feels like sliding a heavy brass deadbolt across a polished marble floor, smooth, silent, and incredibly secure. The crown jewel here is the match-grade 5082D single-stage trigger. It snaps like a brittle icicle in the dead of winter, with absolute 0 overtravel. When that firing pin drops, the recoil is just a slow, polite push into your shoulder. That is because the massive recoil lug and V-bedding block drive all the energy straight to the rear, protecting the stock and keeping the barrel perfectly stable. Here is where it falls apart for me, though. If you run the standard 20.5-inch barrel with a high-capacity case like 243 Winchester, it bleeds off too much velocity. You are looking at a severe drop below 1,700 foot-pounds of energy. In a serious scenario against tough targets, that lack of terminal performance is a major liability. You either hand load or you lose stopping power. To fix that, you have to step up to the APR variant with the 26-inch barrel and an MDT aluminum chassis. It sets you back anywhere from 1,900 to over 4,200 pounds, but it turns this classic turn bolt into a pure precision monster that dominates at distance. Stepping up the game to number 4 is the absolute king of rapid fire, the Merkel RX Helix Speedster. If you want the fastest manual cycling system on the planet, this is your weapon. Under the hood, the engineers threw away the traditional rulebook and built a linear drive based on internal gears. This setup uses a 1:2 transmission ratio. That means when you physically pull the charging handle back 1 inch, the internal bolt face actually travels 2 inches. Cutting your physical movement exactly in half gives you a total throw of just over 2 inches, making it a total freak of nature for putting multiple rounds on moving threats. Furthermore, the entire operation is enclosed. The bolt never slides back out of the receiver toward your eye. That totally eliminates the natural human flinch, keeping your vision locked through the glass while cycling. Grabbing the new Omega grip feels like shaking hands with a ghost. It naturally molds to your palm while leaving the top open so your thumb can race to the bolt handle without getting trapped inside a standard thumbhole stock. My only gripe is the heavy physical effort required to run it. Physics dictates that if you cut the travel distance in half, you double the required force. When this rifle eats 300 Win Mag for breakfast, the spent brass swells tight in the chamber. Because it lacks the massive primary extraction leverage of a rotating bolt, ripping a sticky case out requires serious muscle. It is a minor annoyance, but not a mission killer. The damage to your wallet is around $3,500. The field is thinning as we hit number 3, bringing us to the Mauser M25. Under the hood, Mauser completely abandoned their traditional rotating bolt to create the Spreadlock 250 system. Instead of twisting lugs, a massive central steel wedge pushes forward, forcing dual locking lugs to expand outward and bite directly into the barrel extension. This covers 250 degrees of surface area, creating 66 square millimeters of locking contact. Because all that immense pressure is contained safely inside the steel barrel extension, the outer receiver can be milled from lightweight aerospace aluminum. That drops the overall weight down to roughly 7 pounds, without sacrificing a single ounce of structural integrity. They also ripped out the heavy linear striker spring and replaced it with a tiny 25mm micro hammer hidden under the sear. Because you are not fighting a massive spring on the backstroke, the bolt glides back effortlessly. The trigger breaks as crisp as shattered glass, and when that bolt drives home, it locks up like a steel bear trap snapping shut. Whether it feeds on 308 or slings 300 Win Mag downrange, the handling remains exceptional. Look, I have no real complaints here. The plasma-oxidized barrel fights off harsh elements, and the entire system runs beautifully. But if you demand custom engravings and heritage aesthetics, this modular workhorse will leave you completely cold. It is built strictly for the operator, who drags his gear through the absolute worst conditions. I know the traditionalists will hate seeing a microhammer straight pull replace the legendary Mauser 98 on a list like this. Drop your take in the comments and let me know if you trust this new action in the field. You are looking at roughly $1,700 to start for the base polymer model. Entering the elite tier, we have the legendary Blaser R8. If you are tracking dangerous game, this is the system you want in your hands. Under the hood, this straight pull uses a radical 13-segment radial collet locking mechanism. When you push the bolt forward, an internal wedge forces those 13 steel segments to expand 360 degrees, locking directly into an annular groove cut inside the steel barrel. That means massive chamber pressure is distributed perfectly evenly across the entire circumference of the barrel. It completely eliminates the stress concentrators you get with traditional asymmetrical lugs, allowing it to easily run absolute cannons like the 458 lot without breaking a sweat. Running the action feels like rolling a heavy steel cylinder over thick velvet. It is incredibly secure, and when it locks up, it seals like a massive bank vault. But here is where it falls apart for me: the modular trigger and magazine group. Blaser combined them into one removable unit to shorten the overall length of the rifle. If you drop that proprietary block in deep snow or thick brush, your elite firearm instantly becomes a completely useless piece of wood because you just lost your entire firing mechanism. In a rugged, high-stakes wilderness environment, that is a catastrophic liability. Street price is astronomical, easily starting around $3,800 and climbing into the tens of thousands for custom grades. This one earns its spot as an absolute icon for the global elite. But wait until you see the monster sitting at number 1. Taking the crown at number 1 is the J.P. Sauer & Son 505. This masterpiece earns the top spot because it completely rejects the modern obsession with featherweight alloys. It gives you the rugged, undeniable reliability of a classic turn bolt that puts the complex gear systems of number 4 to shame, and it does it with a massive, milled steel receiver that makes the aluminum chassis of number 3 look like a fragile toy. It is the absolute pinnacle of 2026 engineering. Looking at the foundation, Sauer started with a 13-pound block of solid steel and milled it down to a skeletonized frame weighing just under 1.5 pounds. They paired this hardened steel track with a one-piece, diamond-like carbon-coated bolt. Because they eliminated the removable bolt head found on older models, they destroyed all micro-tolerances. This means the bolt glides back without a single fraction of wobble. It runs so flawlessly that it completely eliminates mechanical shooter fatigue, keeping you focused on terminal performance instead of fighting your equipment. Honestly, the trigger surprises you. The Quattro system lets you select 4 exact pull weights in the field using a hidden key in the sling stud. Set it to its lightest, and it snaps like a dry glass rod shattering under a heavy hammer. When it feeds on 300 Winchester Magnum, the recoil is just a dull, heavy thump against your shoulder, absorbed beautifully by the sheer density of the steel action. My only gripe is the magazine release. The polymer button is positioned aggressively tight and requires a deliberate heavy press to drop the box, which can slow down a fast reload. But that is a minor ergonomic quirk that actually acts as a retention safety in dense brush, not a mission killer. You are looking at roughly $3,200 for the base models, climbing past $6,000 for the carbon fiber variants. That wraps up our look at the 5 German powerhouses dominating 2026. Whether you are running the lightning-fast gears of a modern straight pull or the heavy forged steel of a classic turnbolt, make sure your rifle performs flawlessly when everything is on the line. Watch your 6. I am out.